I look at the figure in the photograph and there's something interesting to me, compelling about their body language, gesture. You know, even though they're strangers, they're very familiar. And I've had lots of people come up and say, that little girl in that painting looks like me when I was a little girl, or my grandmother. And I like that people bring their own background and history and thoughts and ideas, and they can make their own narrative. They can see what they want to in the image. So I start with canvas, and I gesso the canvas, and then I put down 2 or 3 layers of oil paint that are different colors. And I let that dry, and then I soak the canvases for a week or 2, or you know, however long they sit in a sink of water. And then I scrape. You know, I never know, but like parts of the top layers will stay on. Parts, you know, some things come off, some things don't. So I never know exactly what I'm going to get. These are scraped and ready to go, and I've got you know, an inventory of canvases in the back that I can pull out when I'm ready to work. What I do is I'll get old photo albums and I'll take them apart. I'll put them into categories, like this is girls, little girls, and it's easier for me when I need, when I'm thinking of a painting and I want a picture of a little girl, I can just go to this file and look, rather than looking through albums and albums and albums. Generally what I do is I'll scan them, and then I can blow them up to a size that I can work with more easily and print them on just a cardstock paper. These are some photographs that I've printed on the cardstock, and these are some that I'd like to work with this winter. I saw this picture and it's like, that's a painting. And this little girl, I mean, her gesture, the way she's seated, her body language is just fabulous. And I guess in general what attracts me to a particular photograph or a figure in a photograph is the gesture, the body language. I prefer more snapshots than the posed studio portraits of the late 19th century. For the most part, people look different in photographs to me now than they used to. I use an opaque projector to position and size the image on the canvas, and I'll do a very rough charcoal sketch. And then I go in with charcoal and I'll do a more finished drawing, which is the point that this one is at. And then I go in with white paint and I paint the figures and end up with basically a value painting, black and white painting. And then again, once that's dry, the colors go on as glazes afterwards. When I paint, you'll notice, I guess is a little unusual, I paint unstretched. And I do that for obvious reasons, because I need the hard surface behind there. And occasionally I'll do a little sanding and such. And then I also like the fact that it gives me some freedom to crop and change the image. When I'm finished, I use pieces of white paper and pin them up there to delineate the edges of the painting. And sometimes I'll look at it when the image is finished, and I'll say, well, it probably would look better if there was an inch more on this side and an inch less on the other side. When I was in Pakistan, I actually learned at National College of Art they have a degree program in Persian Indian miniature painting. So I was fortunate enough to be able to study that while I was there. But it's not. I'm not really using the technique in these oil paintings. It's more, like I said, it's more about the patterning that I use, and the stylized elements come from Persian Indian miniature paintings. The first thing I did when I bought the farm, which I live on, and my studio is in the barn, was to put in a garden, a vegetable garden. So I spent a lot of time in the summer with that, and you know, in between painting, go out and take my breaks or out in the garden, and I started keeping bees shortly after that, and then the rest of the animals came after that, and right now I'm fairly close to being off the food grid. I have chickens, ducks, geese, dairy goats, and meat rabbits. A few years ago, I took a workshop in encaustic painting. I've always been interested in work that has a lot of texture and kind of an interesting surface. Encaustics, I took a workshop and then experimented for a few years, trying to find my way with the medium. Kind of come to a way of painting that I think works well with my imagery. And it's kind of fun to do the two different mediums. Living in Door County, it doesn't really affect my work in a very specific direct way, but more in an indirect way. It's just the place that I'm living sort of enables me to focus and to make the work. I think if I was living in a big city, there might be too many distractions.